And so when you learn the Taurus, you know yourself, and it's alive. It's not the word. It's the word that does not come back void, meaning that the moment that you start looking into this whole thing, you'll see it everywhere. For instance, when you're inside of a car, what do you really need to grab to steer where you're going? The wheel. What does the wheel look like? A donut, right? What is it in the center that is able to then connect the donut to the wheels? The shaft. No car is made different than this, because the car is modeled after the same thing that the human body is modeled after, the same thing that the universe is modeled after. So as I said before, between the Shri, which is the triangle that has the bent edges, right, which is the lattice work inside of the fields of the Taurus, that's the horizontal and the verticals and how they meet. So that symbol, along with the tube, right, which we're calling the drumstick, you can orchestrate anything. And this is why, of course, like, look at the TV. What is it called? The tube, because it is electric. It is Elohim. It is that fertilizing component. So it's putting things into your mind. They literally call it a tube because you're sitting there receptive, right? And then what's coming out of it is sound. That sound is then embedding you or impregnating you with ideas. Those ideas are connected into the stars. And then when you speak them, it gives the opportunity to draw down the power of the star. And when you act in a certain character, it's drawing down the power of the stars. And with your awareness of this, then it's possible that you can truly protect yourself. This would be the awareness of professional technology. That's what the word means to me. Professional technology. What would be the professional technology? The awareness of the Taurus. This is why there is an agenda about what the earth is designed, because how the earth is designed, because if they put everybody on the spheric world before you know about the Taurus world or the original world, then you just get circles run around you, literally. The spheric world is for someone who has graduated through the Taurus system already and now knows how to enter the fourth dimension, which is like an elevator of manifestation. That's what spheric projections are used for. That's what bubbles are used for, because they reverberate the frequency inside of the sphere. Versus the toroid is like a teacher. It gives you the yin and the yang, and it lets you see every time you pull one thing, how you need to pull another. When you cut a tree down, if forbidding that you ever did, but we got to build houses, I guess. If you cut a tree down, then you need to plant a tree. If you throw something away, then you need to go pick up a bunch of trash. It's like that awareness that, I'm just trying to stay balanced in this. While other folks, they just want to kick up waves. They want to go and send out lots of vibrations that they're just going to get hit back in the face with. It's like, when somebody slams something against a wall, and like a rubber ball, and it just hits them right back into the face. That's what the language can be like when somebody doesn't understand. It's called the reflux current. You just get hit right back with the same spell you were trying to cast on somebody else because you're utilizing magic improperly, right? And the true existence here, what would really eliminate fear for you? What would eliminate death for you? What would eliminate loss for you? It's that ability to actually be able to nullify time, to be able to stay in Zen or 0 point, to be able to operate in a space that is free of any kind of restrictions. And you create that space. Do you know what they call that? Hold on. Do you know what they call it in technology right now? They call it noise canceling. Noise canceling. How does this work? How does noise canceling headphones work? It detects the sounds that are going on around you, mainly the continuous sounds and it sends that exact sound back that you would be hearing through your ear back out, so that it just cancels out the sound. So then you hear almost nothing. So if you can imagine energetically sitting in a noise canceling field, like if your whole frequency and vibration was stable, you wouldn't age. Now, I want to give this insight. I call it level 1 to level 3 type of being, not in any respective order. Level 1 type of being, selfish, only cares about themselves, nobody else. You watch these people roll through life. Generally, they're loners. You find them in Vegas somewhere. They maybe have one bag of money. They go from place to place. They don't have anything solid, no wife, no nothing, maybe some little fling or whatever, but nothing is stable. These kind of people later on in life, they regret everything. They have no energy to go on. They wish it was all over. Level 2. Level 2 is a person who at least has a family, a clique, a gang, a tribe, or something else to love beside themselves, some type of driver or passion that allows them to summon more than the energy that just belongs to them, but actually the energy that actually is connected into more, or the tribe, right? And you find these people being able to amass certain levels of strength and resistance and progress because they have something. Like, think about the mafia for the family. Right? So the whole interconnected system in which they created, right? So they're able to go a little bit further than that loner. And then finally, level 3. This is what I would say is the Messiah level. The person who has actually opened themselves up to assist everyone, because there's nothing here that they get it. They figured how all this stuff works, and they were able to glimpse even into the next stage of things. And to see that nothing really dies. Everything that you think that you lost is still there. You see what I mean? So they're able to see that, and then they're also able to come back into space. So they're not trying to figure out how they're going to get something from you and how this is going to happen and all these different objectives and agendas. And so that gives them that level of power. That's why they reach that Messiah-like power, because they are now they're connected to everything. They see everything as being a part of something that they want to assist, and something that they want to get to understand this knowledge and this power. So when we have big objectives, we need to make sure that those objectives, if you plan on getting them accomplished, actually include everyone. And if you want to understand the interface in which you would do that through, it would be the Taurus. And as I said, it's everywhere, and it's not dead. It is alive. And the opposite of that would be God, pretty much, the dead God, because these are all gods of the dead. You can read through the lore if you want to bore yourself with it. But what humanity has latched itself onto, it's just like it's an all-time low. So there only means that there's one direction that we can go. But I ask you specifically to stay on point, because what is trying to be robbed from you is basically what gives you the ability to be beyond gods. That is the Taurus field. That is your DNA. And if you forget about that, let folks manipulate that are on a destroy mission, that worship a blind, crazy God, that would probably be your lesson. And I would assume that the universe would keep running you through that drill as your parent. The Taurus would keep running you through that drill. You would keep going through that maze. You would keep meeting that Minotaur in the middle of the maze, which is the Taurus. It would be terrible, just like you see when a person goes through an ayahuasca journey and they just, they came in playing with it. They've done no cleansing at all. It's terrible when they see themselves. That's what that mythos is really about. Some say, well, how is the Taurus terrible? Because if you read in the Torah tells you that the God is terrible. But what it's referring to is that a person who is not awake, all of a sudden becoming awakened to their Taurus field, now has to see who they really are. And the experience is terrible. They're crying, they're scared, they're running, they're screaming. So he was just describing what goes on when a person sees their Taurus for the first time and didn't even know that they had one, and then actually really gets to see themselves and what ego has done to them. And this is, as you can see, they roll up the Taurus. This is why you know they already in the know. They ain't going to tell you. But the Taurus, as we know, is the Torah. They roll it up even in the scroll just to show you that's what the pattern is. And then they also are hinting to you that your story or the scriptures, the stories are written inside of the Taurus field. So this means that there's already a prophecy. Okay, there's a prediction or a prophecy or projection. So you could read the stars, and because you know that the story of the stars continues to play out from beginning to end, if you knew what was going to happen, you would be able to profit from it. If you knew what the price of Bitcoin was going to be in the next month, you would profit, even if it went up or down. You could short it if it was going down, or you can bid on it if it's going up. It will be a profit for you. So anybody who knows the future is a prophet, because anybody who knows the future also knows, like, okay, well, with this situation, I'm sure wheat's going to go up. I'm sure soybeans are going to go up. I'm sure X is going to go up. Potash is going to go up. Fertilizers are going to go up, because, 25% of all of the economy is set off into this country. So you know the future, basically, that part of it. You may not know everything, but you know certain parts of what's going to happen anyway. You're able to not just make a prediction, but know that that's part of the prophecy, and then you're able to profit. Who doesn't profit? The people who don't even know what's coming. The people who don't even believe in it. Don't even believe that there's a system that even tells you the future. But what we're talking about is the Taurus is a time machine. It's anti-gravity. It's 0 point. Look at what we're talking about here. It's fourth dimension. What it would look like when you were there, just so you could clue in on this, is that, so I would be in this room, right? Fourth dimensional being can be in this room. I'm moving like this. Its vibratory frequency is almost imperceptible unless I'm an empath, that it's actually standing here in the room observing everything that's going on, and even able to put words in as I'm trying to conceive those words as thoughts in my own mind. You see what I mean? So if you don't have control of your vessel, that's what I was saying before. Like, you could see this even in some videos on YouTube where they show you the Tibetan masters that, or Nigong, Qigong masters, that they know how to grab the Taurus field around your body. Like, it's like a net, and they can pull you with that net. That's just how. How are they doing that? Because they have their own field activated. They can interlace in with your field, give it the coordinates, etc., the juice that it needs, and then pull that field. That's also what healers do. They real healers, they know the field around the person. They can energetically tell where the rip is in the seam. Because also, let's get to some other parts about what happens with the Taurus field when it gets disconnected. So if each of those points of light, if you may, are actually your connection to the Taurus field, especially with the corpus callosum, what happens when they get burned out? The hemispheres start becoming lopsided. And this becomes why we live in two worlds now. Remember, you live in two worlds now. One world, you think you can die. Well, let's put this correct. One world, you can die. The other world, you can't. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the physical world, and I'm talking about the dream world. In the physical world, it appears that people can die here. But in the dream world, if you've ever died there before, you'll be back again tomorrow. Back again in the same night. So you cannot be killed there. So why is there two different worlds? Because the hemispheres are not matched up. That's why in most people's dreams, they don't really understand what's going on, because there's no communication between the two hemispheres. They don't know how to communicate with each other yet. So you're seeing a cucumber walking down the sidewalk getting melted by a soldering iron. And you're like, what the hell does this mean? It's because your hemispheres are mismatched. So then a person comes into the physical reality and mixes it up themselves a bit more, the confusion. Jumps into all these different things that they're being guided to do in daily life. Feel like this, feel like that, believe this, believe that, think they're like this, think they're like that. You should do this, you should do that. As if something is literally talking to the person, because what? They're possessed, basically. by an angel. Hopefully it's a good angel. This is as much as humanity at this stage, at this time, has been able to figure out about what is actually going on. And as I said before, there are already beings that know this. There are already men and women that know this and practice this. Of course, they wouldn't tell you what was going to allow you to regenerate. Just like Dan Winter said, this is your only chance at immortality, kid. The only thing you really have that belongs to the infinite is the Taurus.